Hi everybody. Today's lesson is on a very strange group of organisms known as the protists. So yesterday we talked about bacteria, and we know that bacteria are the first organisms alive on this planet, and we see bacteria in this diagram here in purple. But the bacteria, even though they evolved into all the plants and animals and fungus and everything else that we have today, they didn't evolve directly into plant, animal, and fungus. There was something else between bacteria and everything else, and that something else is this group that we see here in red known as the protists. You see, it's actually the protists that a few of them evolved into the plants here in green, and a few of them evolved into the animals here in blue, and a few of them evolved into the fungus that we see here in yellow. So, again, to truly understand the evolution of plants, we need to talk about this group of organisms known as protists. So the one thing that unifies all protists is that they all have eukaryotic cells. These are cells like we have and like plants have, right? They have a nucleus and they have all these other fancy organelles like a mitochondria and chloroplast and things that go along with having a nucleus. However, besides this one single fact that they're made of eukaryotic cells, there's very little that unifies this kingdom of organisms. To classify an organism as a protist, it has to meet two criteria. It has to have eukaryotic cells, and the second criteria is that the organism can't be a plant, an animal, or a fungus. You see, it's basically like a scientist's form of a junk drawer. If we don't know what the organism is, yet it has eukaryotic cells, we automatically throw it into this kingdom of protists. So there's very little else that all protists have in common. For example, for size, there are some protists like bacteria unicellular, not only made up of a single cell. There are other protists like giant kelp, which are multicellular, okay? And giant kelp can grow up to 60 meters high or 180 feet. As far as cell walls go, some protists have cell walls, others do not. For the protists that do have cell walls, their cell walls are made of cellulose like plants, not peptidoglycan like the cell walls of bacteria. For energy requirements, again, very little that everything has in common. Some are going to be autotrophs, right? And photosynthetic like plants get all the energy they need from sunlight. Some are going to be like us and heterotrophs and must consume other organisms to get the energy they need to survive. And a few of them are photoheterotrophs. They get some energy from light and some energy by consuming other organisms. Finally, we have reproduction of the protists. And for reproduction, they have both sexual and asexual reproduction. The one benefit that we see, or the useful adaptation that we see for the first time, is gametes. When protists go to reproduce sexually, they're the first organisms to reproduce with gametes, which are sperm cells and egg cells, which happen to be a useful adaptation that was passed on to the higher organisms like plants and animals and fungus. Alright guys, that's it for today's lesson on protists.